So this morning we're going to do a meditation on equanimity. So let's just settle into our meditation posture. And okay, I just want to check that the sound is okay before we start. Yeah, it's all good. All right. So just however it is you've woken up this morning, just check there's no one here from overseas. All right. Just see what's going on in the mind. And whatever that is, just know that's okay. And check your feet and legs. Make sure your sits bones are slightly raised. Hands in the meditation mudra, and the shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light. And good morning, Coral. Stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And somebody is very gently just lengthening your spine. So we have these natural curves in our spine. It's not completely straight. Curves are there for a purpose. And the head is slightly tipped forward. Eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose and the tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And just relax the jaw. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead. And the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth. And then bring your awareness to the back of the head, the scalp there. Release any tension in that area. Relax the back of the neck, the shoulders. Allow the shoulder blades to drop down. Anytime, take a nice deep breath. Relax the throat, the chest, the belly, limbs, hands, fingers and feet and toes. It's just a very simple exercise. I mean, you can do that at any time. Sitting, watching television, while you're cooking, very briefly. Waiting somewhere. Now bring the mind to the breath and noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And notice if there's any sounds in your environment. The only sound I can hear right now is a fly that's buzzing around trying to get out. Other than that, the world is quiet. So in your house, you're an hour ahead of me, some of you. And in some cases, 3 hours. So it might be quite busy where you are. But just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow with your mind or entangle yourselves with some kind of conversation. And then bring the mind to the breath and just notice what's arising, what's bubbling up to the surface. And then again, know it's okay. And try and put some space in between the thoughts. Maybe you're stressed about something, or hurt, or happy. And then just put yourself on the bank of the river. And just watch it flow on by, because you know while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river, you're safe, you're not in it. So we'll very briefly bring to mind all the people of our life, because we'll be using them, we'll be using our visualization of them in this meditation. So your loved ones, your besties, your spouses, your children, these are the people who are very dear to your heart. And then there's some people in your life who you have some difficulty with. And then there's those strangers. We pass them by on the freeway. We walk past them on a street. Waiting in the line in the stores. So just keep those people in mind. We'll come back to that meditation. So think that we'll do this meditation for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So before we start the equanimity, let's just do our 9-round breathing to help ground ourselves if you're not already grounded. So imagine you're breathing in blissful, radiant white light through your right nostril. You can count up to 4 if you wish, and pause at the top of the breath. Then breathe out through your left. All your desire energy, anxiety, not feeling enough. And you breathe this out as thick black yucky smoke. Do that 3 times. Then breathe in through the left, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe out through your right, all your anger. This is a wish to harm. Jealousy, bitterness, grudges, disappointments, irritation even. So breathe that out as thick black yucky smoke. Do that 3 times. Then breathing in through both nostrils, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath, and then breathe out through both nostrils, all your ignorance. This is like not knowing the way things truly exist, not understanding karma, cause and effect. Do that 3 times. And we'll do this 3 sets of 3 in our own time. So just bring the mind back to the breath and just feel. Wherever you're at, it's totally fine. So the purpose of doing this meditation on equanimity, it just allows us to examine our attitudes and our feelings towards others and to see the ways in which we might be maybe a little bit mistaken. So gradually, this starts to lead to a state of equanimity. And when you're studying the Lam Rim, this is the very first step on the path to developing bodhicitta. So we have this kind of great attachment to our loved ones. We have aversion to those people we don't like and we push them away, and we don't really care about us strangers. So imagine in the space in front of you 3 people. Someone you like, someone you love, maybe make it someone you love, your friends, someone you dislike, and then someone that you feel a bit indifferent to. And just try and retain the image of the friend, the enemy, and the stranger throughout the meditation. So focus first on your friend and ask yourself, why do you like them? Why do you love them? And what are the main reasons? Is it because of what they do for you? And is this a good enough reason to hold that person dear? And look at the person you dislike. And maybe think about, why do you feel this way towards that person? Maybe the person's harmed you. Maybe they behave in ways that you find unacceptable. Maybe they don't do anything for you at all. And is this a good enough reason to dislike them? Wishing them harm or treating them badly. And then look at the person that you feel indifferent to. Why do you feel this way? Is it because this person has either harmed you nor helped you? And so also ask yourself if you regard these relationships as being permanent. Do you believe that you will always get along with your friend and that you'll never get along with that person you dislike? And will you always be distant from that person you don't know, the stranger? So try and recall relationships in your past that have changed. Perhaps a friend has become an enemy. Maybe an enemy has become a friend. Maybe a stranger became the focus of your life, a very, very dear loved one. Okay, so now imagine your best friend, and they're in front of you, and they're doing something maybe hurtful or unacceptable. Would your feelings towards this person change? Recall that this person wasn't your friend before you met, and could easily cease to be your friend in the future. And realize there's no sound reason for feeling kind and loving towards only the friend of this moment. And our relationships can and do change. And today's friend can become the person that you don't like very much in the future. Now turn your attention to the person you dislike. And imagine this person doing something kind. Perhaps you've broken down late evening on a road that there is very rarely anybody coming past, and you have no cell phone reception. And they stop. The enemy comes along and stops to help you. Are your feelings for this person softening? Do you feel a sense of gratitude? You can learn to feel warmly towards this person you don't like very much. This has happened before, and it will happen again. So why hold so strongly to this idea that this person is your enemy or a person you don't like? And why hold so strongly onto this idea it's definite, it's forever, that's it? And what of this stranger? This relationship could go either way. Imagine the stranger doing something helpful, giving you the right directions. Maybe you dropped your purse in the supermarket, they pick it up and give it to you. How would this affect your feelings towards that person? So if you are able to accept this idea of our past existence, our future existence, consider the idea that maybe you've known these people before, perhaps in other lifetimes, maybe different relationships. Consider that the friend of this life could be a stranger or an enemy of another life. And your present enemy may have been somebody very, very dear in a past life. The present stranger could have been both. So see how thinking like this affects your feelings towards your friend, your enemy, and your stranger. And really try and get a sense that these relationships are not permanent. A loved one could become an enemy and vice versa. They see this in the divorce courts all the time. Stranger can become either a friend or an enemy. And no one is a friend, an enemy, and a stranger from their own side, independently. They become this way independent upon how our mind labels them. Someone you regard as a friend is seen by other people as an enemy. And that person that you don't like, they have people who love them. They have maybe children who just adore them. They have a mother who thinks they're the best things in sliced bread. They have siblings who think they're funny. So it's really unwise to cling to these kind of concrete ideas that we have about people as if they were permanent, truly existing, can never change. So it's also very helpful, as we've been doing, to recognize that everyone is equal. We're all the same. And one of those ways is that everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be free from problems and from pain. So think, my friend, my enemy, and my stranger all want happiness just as much as I do. And just like you, They don't want to experience even the tiniest problem or pain. And everyone, yourself and others, deserves to be happy and peaceful and free from suffering. So really try to feel that. Bring them in front of you, the friend, the enemy, and the stranger. And believe in your heart, equally they deserve happiness. Another way that we're all equal, all sentient beings are equal, is that we have the potential to free our minds from all negativities and to develop this incredible potential, clarity, luminosity, generosity, compassion, wisdom, kindness, brilliance, creativity, enlightenment. And everyone can and will become enlightened one day. So recognize that the differences between us, between people, are just superficial, and they're really just based on how you view them. It's a sort of a narrow, mistaken view, just coming from our own viewpoint. And if our thoughts and feelings were more in line with reality, we would see that everyone equally deserves our care and our concern. But none of this means we shouldn't discriminate. On a practical level, it might be necessary. We're naturally going to feel closer to some people than others. We have karma with people. And some people, it's kind of wise, we keep distance from them. And this is not a contradiction. The point of the meditation is to maintain and to develop equal concern, equal regard for everyone, whether they harm or help us. And to see that our present discrimination is based on arbitrary, mistaken, and changeable labels. And let's just dedicate all the positive energy you've created, any insights you may have had this morning, to the benefit of all those people of your life. And I have a question here from Bobby. Bobby, may I read it out? So Bobby says, how does one use this exercise in the context of a threatened carjacking at gunpoint? I certainly understand the delusional aspect, but how can I take this further? So I think the first thing that you would do in that situation is get yourself out of there. Right? You be practical. Make sure you don't get harmed. And then in terms of reflection, because you'll be having to deal with all kinds of emotional issues around that if you have experienced that kind of situation, and then you try, and again, because you would see that person as an enemy because they frightened you or they terrified you or they tried to harm you, so you would do that from a distance. But in the moment, you need to get yourself out of there. that would be my first suggestion. You probably wouldn't sit there and try and see them in you would want to get out. I would imagine. Anyway, thank you for the question. Lots of love, everybody, and take care, and I hope to see some of you this evening. Thank you, Matt, for hosting.
Thanks, Venerable.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Venerable.
Bye, everyone. See you.